Do we look at other positions in the NFL in the draft as bust? Right? It's always a quarterback as a bust. Yes, Marvin.
I think it depends on the expectations.
Well,
Tony Mandarich, was that his name?
yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way he was looked at, the Sports Illustrated cover, that's what made him a bust because of the expectations, I think.
Well, also, they could have taken Barry Sanders. I think they took Tony Mandarich, and then the Lions took Barry. Dion was in that draft. Derek Brooks was in that draft. Yeah, Seton.
It kind of feels like so many players, well, I don't want to say fail, but don't work out now, that there's less attention on who's a bust and who's not.
Okay. Was Mario Williams...
Man, that's a name you don't hear.
Was he a success? 2006. Remember that was Mario Williams, Reggie Bush draft? Yeah, Paul.
Mario Williams in 06, Texans, Bills. He appeared in 4 Pro Bowls, which...
Okay. That's not a bust.
And also Reggie Bush, who did not eclipse him as a player. It helped him that the guy who went behind him didn't go to the Hall of Fame.
Reggie did okay. You know, I would say he had a solid... maybe good NFL career?
I'll throw out a name.
Okay.
2014, coming out of South Carolina, Jadeveon Clowney was the sure thing number 1 pick. It wasn't even a discussion. He went to 3 Pro Bowls. He is not in danger of going to the Hall of Fame.
I don't think he's a bust, but he didn't come close to living up to what the potential was. Now, he didn't establish the potential. The analyst who went on his pro day, and he had 1 tackle. He had the bowl game against Michigan. And that all of a sudden jettisoned him to the top. Like, this guy can't miss. And, of course, they can always miss. But we're looking at non-quarterback that we label them bust. How many of those are there? Yeah, Paul.
I got to go back a way, but Courtney Brown, defensive end, Penn State. Him and LeVar Arrington were awesome. He was taken number 1 overall in 2000 by the Browns. He never made a Pro Bowl.
That would be a bust.
Yeah. He played a lot. He had a nice few years, but he didn't do anything really.
That's a bust. But I don't think he's ever labeled that. When you go number 1 overall and you're not a quarterback, like, you better be great. Russell Maryland went number 1 overall by the Cowboys. I think that was the draft when nobody wanted to trade up to get that number 1 pick, and there wasn't a consensus number 1 player. Yeah, Paul.
In the 80s and 90s, there was a bunch of guys like him. 88, Andre Bruce, linebacker of Auburn to the Falcons, no Pro Bowls. Russell Maryland, 1 Pro Bowl to Dallas. Steve Entman, a lot of knee injuries. He went to the Colts, number 1 out of Washington. He was considered a sure thing. Dan Wilkinson, defensive tackle, Ohio State, went to the Bengals, no Pro Bowls. Kajana Carter, 1995, halfback out of Penn State. Bengals, no Pro Bowls.
He had a knee injury.
Yep, back-to-back for the Bengals.
Yeah.
But then you got guys like Orlando Pace was the number 1 pick in 97.
Hall of Famer?
Yeah, 6 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. Yeah, Marv.
Vernon Golston from the Jets.
Ooh, good poll. But what pick was he? Like,
I think he was the 6th pick?
Yeah, 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
That guy with his shirt off, but...
Oh, yeah.
0 sacks, I think, in his career.
But they make you play with his shirt on, though.
And shoulder pads.
Yes.
And a helmet.
It's like DK Metcalf when you go, oh, my God. That guy can't miss. And he's not great, but he always has that man in DK Metcalf. He's a matchup that nightmare. Yes, Marv.
He's got to wear a clear jersey. Nah, just look at the muscles, baby.
Yeah, Paul.
Here's one that's to be decided. Trayvon Walker, 2022, out of Georgia, defensive end. He was a bit of a surprise number 1 pick to the Jaguars. He started slow, and Aiden Hutchinson, who went second, started fast. Yeah. Now, Trayvon Walker last year had 10.5 sacks.
Yeah, that's a quiet 10.5 sacks, but yeah, that should be mentioned that he was on the road to being a bust because Hutchinson was having, really good years, just, his first couple of years in the NFL, whereas that was his surprise pick. It was not a glamour pick. And, sometimes you have that draft where you go, there's no real consensus number 1 overall pick. And normally teams will just say, well, we'll take a quarterback. Tim Couch went out of Kentucky, went to the Cleveland Browns, number 1 overall. Now, he'd be a bust, but I don't know. I mean, the Browns were bad back then. I don't even know how much Tim played. Yeah, Marv.
What about who's my man? Eric Fisher from the Chiefs.
Yeah, he was second overall out of Central Michigan. He was number one overall?
Number one overall, 2013, Eric Fisher out of Central Michigan. He went to 2 Pro Bowls, and I don't know if that was alternate or not, and he was a one-time Super Bowl champion with the Chiefs. So
that's a bust.
He was taken too high for what he produced, right?
Yeah, anybody else in there?
Well, Andrew Luck, 2012, he went to 4 Pro Bowls, but considering he was supposed to be a sure thing, he retired by choice. It was not.
But he wasn't a bust. He was just incomplete.
Incomplete.
Yeah, Seton.
Are the players busts or is the system broken?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, somebody has to go number one.
It kind of feels like it's less about these guys can't play and more about these guys can't scout.
Well, I think the draft is littered with, how did you miss on that guy? Or, man, you took a chance and it worked out there. Yeah. But there's so many varying opinions. Let's just look at the quarterbacks. In the number of analysts that we've had on, Tim Hasselbeck swears by Drake May. Ryan Leaf loves Michael Penix. We had somebody who loved Jaden Daniels. We had analysts who said they wouldn't take Caleb Williams because you can't do in the NFL what you were doing at USC. So that's all of the people who are in the business, and their opinions vary. So they're probably mirroring the scouts that they talk to.